Something that's funny is that I was immediately quicker than last week. Hey guys, what's up, Rotax here, and welcome back to this brand new video. And today, once again, we are in beautiful Kerpen. And today it's going to be interesting because I'm alone today. I thought the team was coming, but we had a little bit of miscommunication. So today we are back on the good old Tony kart with the tilt seat, of course, because I think this is going to be the biggest difference. So yeah, let's go out on track now and let's see how it goes. I'm curious. Welcome back to Kerpen, the home of the Schumacher family. We're back here testing and training for the next round of the Dutch Rotax Max Challenge, which is due in about a month. We were now back on the older Tony kart to see if it was quicker than the new Lando Norris chassis, which we tested last week. If you guys didn't know, they're both exactly the same chassis, but the Tony is green and the LN kart is dark blue. But both are manufactured by the OTK kart group in exactly the same way. You know what else would be good in blue? The like button. And while you're at it, why don't you subscribe as well? It's free, and every step is one step closer to me being able to race next year, which is sadly still in dispute. After only a few laps I already had to come in because the session was over, but I had already made a big conclusion. In the Lando Norris kart we have built a Jacko seat, which is quite stiff compared to other seats. A seat is a big determining factor in the kart's handling, since it's basically the heart of the chassis. In my Tony kart, which is what we're on right now, we have the tilted T11 VTI seat, which is one of the softest seats you can get. And it was very clear which one was better. Well guys, we did the first session, just a couple of laps. But something that's funny is that I was immediately quicker than last week with the Tony kart and the tilted seat. But yeah, it's hard to compare, of course, because I think the track is also quite a bit faster today. But yeah, we'll see. Now we're going to do a proper session, and if I'm still faster then yeah, time to remove that Jacko seat. For the second session it was time to find the correct setup. Because last race weekend was super trash, we had decided to hit the reset button, meaning we would start out the day on the stock setup and work from there. We did that last week as well with the LN kart. I quickly came to the conclusion that the front track width was not correct. You can increase how wide the front of your kart is by changing the spacer rings on the stop axle, like I'm doing right here. And this has two effects. One, it basically increases your front grip, and two, we'll get to that later. Anyways, after our little pit stop the handling once again improved. Things were looking really good so far. Alright people, the tires are a little bit dead, but that's okay. I know where the issue is. You saw me during the session that I changed to the wider track width at the front. And then now I think I'm going to switch to a short N axle, so that's standard hardness or stiffness. And it's 3 centimeters shorter, so that's going to be a interesting change. Let's do it. So, you heard me talk about switching to a shorter rear axle. The effect that this has is that you basically remove some grip from the rear. Karts have a solid rear axle, which means that the rear wheels cannot turn independently from one another. So you can imagine the wheels not being able to do this is a massive problem once you start turning, because one of the wheels must be sliding. This causes friction, makes you lose speed, makes the tires wear out more, and it's overall just bad. Karting engineers have found a way to get around this, however, because karts are designed to get around this problem by making the inside rear wheel lift off of the ground in the corners. So you can imagine that it's important for a kart to be able to do this, and you can regulate that by changing the setup. And coming back to that track width at the front, you can probably imagine that the wider track width at the front will make the rear end lift more. You can imagine that a short rear axle will make it easier for the car to make the rear wheel lift because of the amount of leverage. This will increase stability on turn-in, but it can reduce grip in the mid-corner. It will also remove some traction, which is what you want in high grip conditions. Cars like this have so much grip that the engine sometimes struggles to pull through their grip. Let's see what effects this will have on the track. Thank you. Alrighty, time for the helmet cam. The footage from this camera is really good at demonstrating how intense it is to drive one of these Rotax karts. Yes, it's this shaky when you're driving, so you can imagine how rough this track is on your kart and parts. If you're a karter yourself, you know how quickly some of your parts can break and it can be a real pain in the ass. But luckily, my sponsor K-Racing has just the thing for you. K-Racing is an official Rotax, OTK and OMP dealer, and every week we release a new discount code on various products. This week you can get a 20% discount on all OTK steering system parts, the OTK caster kit and the super important Sniper Laser V2. Now is the time to stock up on spare kingpins or track rods, or to finally get that Sniper Laser kit or caster kit. The latter two allow you to get the maximum out of your kart. So head over to kracingshop.com, use the code CASTER20 on checkout and save 20% on your shopping. Full details are in the pinned comment. Anyways, back to this session. You can clearly see that my driving is a lot smoother and cleaner compared to last week. The car felt really good with the shorter axle, and after I made the front end of the chassis stiffer with a different torsion bar, the kart was absolutely on rails. I mean, take a look at how much the kart is sliding last week. Compared to the same corner this week. This shouldn't be possible. A newer kart should always handle better than the one that has already done a lot of kilometers. Now you see, karts don't have suspension, and all forces of curbs, impacts or anything are absorbed directly by the chassis. So after a while the chassis wears and it becomes more and more flexible. And the chassis that is too flexible is ultimately harder to drive and so slower. And this Tony kart has done its fair share of laps, so it really should not be better handling. And guys, remember, it's the exact same chassis as my new Lando Norris kart. The only two differences are the amount of laps that they have done, which should benefit the LN kart, and the seat. Yeah, karting can be a difficult sport sometimes. Let's go for a little break.
For YouTube. For YouTube?
Yes.
Greetings from Germany.
Alright people, I have ordered my food. I chose currywurst with pommes, which is basically a German sausage with fries. And she chose chicken nuggets and Capri Sun, of course. And I have this iced tea, but I think this is going to be quite nasty. And of course we're back in this legendary canteen, full of history, pictures. You've seen it already. All of the greats, Schumacher, Vettel, even Nico Hulkenberg, Lewis Hamilton, Guido van der Garde, they've all been here and eaten their schnitzels here.
After having some delicious German food, it was time to head back out on track. I had found a really solid setup in the morning and the kart was working very well. It's still a little bit annoying that there were no other drivers from my class that day to compare ourselves to. In karting you really only know how quick you are when it's time for qualifying, but you can get a rough idea in free practice by comparing your lap times to other drivers in your class. Anyways, I felt like there was some progress compared to last week. Let's ride on board for a full lap where you can really see that my driving has become a lot smoother.
Hi Bram. Ik weet nu eindelijk hoe je camera werkt. Dus daar gaan we even goed gebruik van maken. Sorry voor je SD-kaart. Doei!
Guys, we're back at the best spot to spectate, and I have to say, it's going surprisingly well today. And the kart, it just feels so much better, the Tony kart. And I think that's 100% due to the seat. Yeah, I'm going to have to change that, I think. Well, anyways guys, I've got something interesting for you, because you can actually win something in this video.
In this video you can win your own custom drip mat. As you may or may not know, my dad makes these things and he is my biggest sponsor. And he thought it was a fun idea to give away one of these high quality custom drip mats. If you want to enter the giveaway, you gotta do these 3 things. First of all, follow me on Instagram. Secondly, follow Spur Control Rental on Instagram. Last but not least, like this video and leave a comment saying you've done everything. I will pick a random winner in a couple of weeks time. You can either submit your own design or let us make one for you. All of the steps are in the pinned comment down below. And by the way guys, whether you're a kart racer, actually in cars or on dirt bikes or something, we have a custom drip mat size for you. So whatever your motorsport is, it doesn't matter. Anyone can enter this competition. So, time for the final session of the day. I didn't change anything on the setup and the tires were dead. I didn't have any other sets though, so I just had to deal with it. We still managed to do a 45.6, which is a respectable lap time for that day. Let's take one final look inside my helmet at this beautiful but super intense track. Well guys, I've packed everything and that's it for today. And for a change, it was actually a really good day. The car felt good. Yeah, it's a bit older, but that's okay. Times were okay, and I think it's time to put a T11 VTI in the LN card because yeah, I think that's the biggest issue with the LN card. Anyways guys, with that also comes the end of this video. Now guys, remember as always, if you enjoyed that, then please consider hitting those like and subscribe buttons. You know you really help me when you do that. Also, don't forget to enter the giveaway. In here I explained a little bit of history about the track, but I was actually quite a lot slower. Anyways guys, that was it. Peace.